Welcome. We are going to be going over animal and plant cells, which is covered in Topic 1, Cell Biology, GCSE. So, by the end of this video, you should be able to explain the main subcellular structures of a plant and animal cell and differentiate between a plant and animal cell. Here is an animal cell. As you can see, there's a cytoplasm within the cell. There's a nucleus, which controls the cell's movement and contains the genetic material of the cell. On the outside is a cell membrane, which controls what enters and exits the cell by diffusion. And here is a mitochondrion, which releases energy for respiration. Here is a plant cell. As you can see, the same again, cytoplasm, the nucleus, the cell membrane. However, the cell wall is in the plant cell, but is not in an animal cell. The cell wall ensures that the structure maintains as it is and everything remains within the cell. Here is the mitochondrion. There's also a vacuole, which contains the glucose of the plant, and the chloroplast, which releases the chemical product chlorophyll. This is for leaves to absorb sunlight so they can perform photosynthesis. Here are the key differences between an animal and plant cell. As you can see, plant cells have a permanent vacuole, a cell wall, and chloroplasts. In comparison, animal cells lack these organelles. So if you were given an exam question based upon these, you would be expected to suggest these 3 ideas, or depending on the capacity of how many is requested. But these are the key ideas that you need to remember for this topic. Okay, so here is an exam question. Figure 1 shows a plant cell. Which 2 parts in a diagram below are not found within an animal cell? And this question is worth 2 marks. So pause the video now and have a go at this question, and we will mark it in a minute. Here's the mark scheme. If you'd suggested any 2 of the following, considering the allow and ignore statements, you'd have been given 2 marks. If you had specified 1 and it was not outlined as ignore, then you may give yourself 1 mark. If you specified none of the following, you would receive no marks. The allow and ignore statements. Allow indicates that the question is allowed a response of a scientific term that is less broad than the previous response. And an ignore statement states that if that was suggested alone, that would be insufficient to grant a mark. So, for example, permanent vacuole. It is allowed for the student to specify vacuole, and that would be allowed. They do not have to suggest the scientific terms permanent. But, however, if the student has said chloroplast, that would have been accepted. But if they'd said chlorophyll, which is the chemical product formed by chloroplasts, that's not an organelle, so that would have been rejected. Take My Exams has everything you need to prepare for your upcoming exams. If you want to get premium today, there's a code that you can enter in to get 10% off. Type BioAce within the discount code and enjoy 10% off your premium subscription, allowing you to reach those top grades.